All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the A7E podcast. This is your host, Jiggadrin. Guys, we are on episode 27 with a returning guest today. We got Arnold. It's Cadenas, right? Cadena. Without S?
Without the S.
Without the S, guys. It's without the S. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming back. I know it's been, I honestly don't know how long it's been. I know it's been a couple of months.
It's been a couple of months. I think we did the first one at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So it's been a couple of months. Actually, you know what I think is, if not even mistaken, it's probably back in December.
Yeah, man.
So it's been what a good 6 months more or less.
It's been a while. And guys, just so you know, we're currently trying to stream Arnold's on his TikTok, and
Yes.
I'm on my Instagram. Arnold, what's your TikTok?
It's under the same as my Instagram. It's under Arnold GA1. So anybody that wants to follow me on TikTok, you guys can go ahead. So trying to adjust to this a little bit.
Yeah. So, guys, this is the first time we're trying to do it, but we're hoping to kind of use this as a way to interact a little bit more with the followers that tune in. You know, even if it's one person. Yeah, and I'm on my Instagram. If you guys don't know what it is, IG is Jiggadrin. That's Jiggadrin. Maybe I haven't told the story of where I got it from, but that's from back home. From friends growing up, we used to always try to give each other nicknames, and somebody came up with that name for me. Wasn't a big fan of it at first, but the more people started using it, the more I started liking it. And once I left my hometown of Frostproof, I just decided to take something with me. And if I ever started a brand, you know, Jiggadrin is not the brand. I hope A7E is. But yeah, that's essentially what I go by for now. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Hoping to just kind of get some, to kind of catch up a little bit with Arnold and see what's going on with the Gymnastics brand. If you guys don't know, today's episode is sponsored by Gymnastics. I got the shirt on right now. This is my favorite shirt. Arnold reached out to me. He's like, dude, you're always wearing that shirt. I'm like, I know, man. I wear it like 3 times a week to the gym. Sam, what's up, man? From Fort Worth, Dallas. But I haven't forgotten about you. Just got a lot of people coming in. And guys, I'm hoping to kind of connect with someone from Dallas for my first video stream for the episode. But okay, man, let's get into it. So what's up, man? Tell me a little bit about you. What's going on?
So, I'm just, like anybody else, working hard. We've had our good days. We had our bad days. Most definitely today, I feel more comfortable than the first time.
Yeah.
I remember the first time coming in and, I was nervous as hell. Thank God now we're able to go live. I'm trying to interact with my followers on TikTok while you're doing it on Instagram, and it's great. It's a great interaction. And by myself, it's like I said, we've been trying to, as far as myself personally, I continue working in the same field, still in law enforcement, trying to move to another job, at a bigger agency. But I've been doing good like anybody else. I've had my good days, I've had my bad days, but like I've told you before, that consistency and that positive mindset has, pushed me through those bad days. I tried the negativity not affect me and just continue going as the days go by. And I try not to put myself in my mind that I've had a bad day, just a bad small moment, and, let it go and continue going throughout the whole day. If it was only 5 minutes of the day, I still got the rest, of the day to make, something better. Yeah. So it's been good. It's job has been, or actually work has been good for me. And I'm excited for new stuff.
Good, man. Real quick, what's up, Jorge? Thank you so much for tuning in, bud. It's one of the players that I coached on the team. But yeah, man, that's so you're doing law enforcement. You're hoping to work for a bigger agency.
A bigger agency, yes.
Yeah. What exactly in enforcement do you do?
Right now, I'm instructing new people at the police department that I work for.
Oh, nice.
So that's what I'm trying to do. I used to work for the sheriff's office before that. That's when I had the accident back in 2017. So I'm trying to get back into the same agency that I used to work for before. And just, continue on my career, teaching new people and stuff. That's what I like doing. Yeah. It's something that I enjoy. And if I'm able to imply what I know into all these younger people than me, then I feel that they have a bit of a better perspective of, what they're coming up to and stuff. So it's good.
Good, man. That's awesome. I know obviously in the previous episode that we did, we spoke a little bit about your accident. It was pretty intense, and essentially, from that was born, what, your passion for the gym as well. And then, essentially, ultimately Gymnastics as a brand. So, is there anything in regards to Gymnastics, right? Because I seen that you got a new logo, which looks really cool.
Thank you.
You know what? I when I was training with Pete, I think like 2-3 weeks ago, I think he had a classic Gymnastics logo. It was like a shield almost.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
The very first one
It was
that
the
we
very
had.
first one, and I told him, I was like, "Hey man, that's a pretty good version of the Gymnastics logo." He's like, "Believe it or not, this was the very first one."
Yes,
Like,
actually, till now we start off with that first one, which was the G and the A, and it kind of looked like a shield.
yeah,
And then we've moved on to the one that you have right now, which was a little bit more modern.
yeah,
And then it'd be the one that we have now would be the third one. It's like everything, I had some people, ask me like, "Hey, why are you switching the logo so quick?" And it's like, we can't limit ourselves. I feel that once you start like closing the doors on yourself, you're just limiting yourself. We're still a growing brand.
Yep.
We're still going through our turbulence. We have good seasons. We have bad seasons, and it's okay. You know why? Because we're still growing. And that's the ultimate way in order for it to come to a perfection.
yeah,
Maybe we're not gonna be perfect 100%, but I think that's something that we gotta continue evolving as we go. Because maybe some people like the logo, maybe some people don't. Maybe some people actually enjoy the new logo.
yeah,
And I've been trying to take some classes as an entrepreneur and stuff to become a better leader. Because when I started this, I had no idea until what I was getting myself into. You go into business thinking that it's easy, and it's not. It's not. But that didn't stop us.
yeah.
So that's why we continue doing things differently to make sure that we're able to attract the most people, and provide them that boost that we've always tried to since the very beginning.
Yeah.
Of Gymnastics. If we can't, like I've told you before, if we can't change one person a day, then we're already winning.
Yeah.
So that's the whole purpose behind it.
Yeah, man. So, is there ever a point? So I completely agree with the growing brand. You're evolving as much as possible, and I think that's also the cool part of growing a brand and the journey of it. Exploring and also testing things out. But do you think that there's ever a point where you're satisfied where the brand is, like the way it looks, like the logo, things of that nature, or do you see yourself like always trying to grow it? And I don't like to say change, because that can be interpreted as 180 going another direction. But do you essentially always do you see yourself always trying to make additions maybe, or do you feel like that there's a point that you'll get to where you'll be happy about the way it looks and then that's where it'll stay?
As far as logo wise, I think at a certain point we will be where we want to be. As far as our brand growing, I think we'll try to continue pushing as much as we can to continue growing it. And now that you touch that base, something that we do is we try to do collaborations with new ambassadors, with new athletes, even with businesses. We've worked with All Star Nutrition, we've worked with Alpha Supplements. As a matter of fact, we can get into more details down the road. I made a collaboration with a gym, here in Mission. It's called Last One Fitness Center. And that way we can continue growing as a brand. But as far as logo wise, I think yes, at a certain point we are going to be where we want for it to be. Like I said, we're still going through the growing process, and as fast as when it comes to ambassadors and stuff, then at a certain point, yes, we're gonna reach the limit where the people that we can have in the team and stuff. But for now, I feel that we can continue pushing to grow, and once we feel that we're good, then we'll stop and just continue pushing. But yeah.
Yeah, man. So tell me, how can people get in touch with you, or if there are can you touch a little bit more, cover a little bit more about like the ambassador programs? Like, how does that work if somebody were to be interested in Gymnastics or vice versa?
Okay, our ambassadors program, we have changed a little bit of our regulations, because before we would allow anybody that wanted to help us out, but through the whole process, you start going through ups and downs.
Yep.
You see that some people are there because of the hype and stuff, and you start seeing who really wants to actually be serious about it. And there's something wrong with it. I always have taken the failures that I've had as a plus, because if we don't fail, then we don't progress. So now, in order for you to join or athletes program or ambassadors program, you have to go or read the contract, make sure that you're able to post a story at least twice a week, a story, a post 2 to 3 times during the month. And if every time you go and work out and stuff, just tag us in your story. The contract is very simple, just make sure that you have an active social media. We try to make sure that in the team it's respectful, don't disrespect anybody when the team or any disrespectful stuff that we have in our group chat. And that is very simple. But our athletes program, that's a little bit different, because since the athletes program comes with a sponsorship, then we do require that you're with the team at least minimum of 6 months before we sponsor you, because we've racked up pretty good money, for some of our athletes, and we don't want for it to be just like, plus anybody that just shows up is going to get sponsored, and there's...
They got essentially kind of got to earn it.
Exactly, yes.
Through their loyalty, to their, type of thing.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. Because, we've had some people in the team since we started, and we've had people that, would just come in and then out the door. And that's what we're trying to avoid. Make sure that everybody feels appreciated and stuff. Make sure everybody that's been there for the longest time feels that everybody that comes and gets sponsored earns it. Yeah. So that's where we're at in our athletes program. Like I said, we're still looking for new collaborations, new ambassadors, new athletes. So anybody that's looking at this right now, if y'all have any upcoming competitions and stuff, and y'all are looking for a sponsor, reach out to me and we can get something going, that way when it comes to your competition time, we can try to figure out how to help you out.
Yeah, and what is the definition of an athlete? Does that make sense?
An athlete would be, an ambassador obviously is just going to be somebody that's social media active, goes to the gym and stuff, can help us promote. An athlete is somebody that actually does a whole preparation to go and compete, how Pete does it, how Anissa does it, how Jazz does it, how all these competitors that went out there last week, like Roosevelt did, and I think his sister competed as well, and his brother-in-law. So that would be a definition of an athlete, somebody that goes through the whole process and motions to go and compete.
Okay. Yeah, man, I think that's a phenomenal opportunity too, not just because, I'm here speaking to you, but for any athlete or even ambassador to get involved with, what I consider, and not just because I know you, but a quality brand. Like, you can see that you have structure in your brand, like you have seriousness, like you have plans for the future, and you don't just have a logo and you're providing t-shirts type of thing. You're really trying to continue to build every chance that you get.
Exactly.
And I think it's a phenomenal opportunity for anyone to get involved, especially when you're welcoming it, right? Because brands get to a point where, the onboarding for, ambassador athlete, is essentially like through email, like the whole time, or it's like it's hard to get in touch, right? And I'm sure that those brands at some point were, when they first started, it was easier to contact, type of get involved type of thing. Yes. So, if there's anybody out there, maybe Arnold didn't express this enough, but he's really welcoming, anyone who is interested.
Yes. Anybody that, they can either send me a DM on my personal page or through the business page. I'm the one that usually handles both Instagrams. And there's also a link to the website for our brand there. It's under Officialgymadiktz@gmail.com. And I also handle the emails. So anybody that, like I said, that's interested can feel free and reach out, Not because we have requirements means that we cannot help you. We can still try to figure something out. Yeah. And that's what we do. We, like I've told you before, we try to help out everybody that we can around here. And I think that's something that differs us from other brands as well.
Do me a favor, because we talked a bit about, where to contact you in social medias. Tell us what your social media or your primary social media platform to contact you, your email. What's the website? Where is the website?
My primary contact point would be my personal Instagram. It's under Arnold_GA1. And then we have the business page, which it's under Officialgymadiktz. And then we also have the email that's under Officialgymadiktz@google.com. And the website, you could find it, on the internet, or the link is in both of my Instagram bios.
There you go.
you could just go online and just type gymnastics.com and it'll pop out. We have a new drop coming soon, and I've been trying to hold it a little bit because, like I've said before, I like to nitpick, on all the details and stuff, and I like the feedback that they give us and everything. So if you tell me, hey, you know what, I like the logo where it was positioned here, but I don't like it how it was in the center or whatever. We take all that stuff in consideration because ultimately, we want to do stuff that people appreciate. It's not only stuff that I like, it's stuff that people are gonna wear to the gym and they gotta feel comfortable. They gotta like where the logo placement, the quotes that the shirts have, the quality of the material and stuff. So it's all that stuff that comes into play. So anybody that has any feedback, we would really appreciate it as well.
Good, man. Yeah, and again, that's a part of a business that actually cares, that's really trying to grow, man. So yeah, guys, again, you're more than welcome to reach out, to Arnold. I think it's a great opportunity. So cool. So what else? What else with Gymnastics? What's next? Like, in the near future, not too far out, something that's tangible for us to kind of be on the lookout for besides or maybe even the drop that you just mentioned?
Well, we want to make sure that you guys are on the lookout for that coming drop. I don't have a planned date yet because there's still a lot of process going into it. We do have an upcoming event. It's going to be hosted at Top Gym by Edgar Acevedo and the owners of Top Gym. This would be a bench press competition. Okay. They're gonna do like the NFL Combine kind of thing. We're
bench press?
Yes, we're gonna go in there as sponsors, and the idea is to give out either a strength backpack or some type of a gym bag with a couple of tees, maybe some. Or t-shirts. Let me let me rephrase that, and a couple of supplement samples to the first 3 top winners, whether it's the division of males or females. That's coming up in September, if I'm not mistaken. They're still trying to figure out the dates, but as soon as we got it going, we'll promote it. I also want to take the time to thank the followers that are actually connected right now on both of our Instagrams. Yeah. That's something that we do have coming up in the near future.
Good, man. Yeah, guys, thank you, for everybody that's tuned in, even if it was a brief, stop in. We appreciate it always. Now, before we got into your, the Gymnastics updates, you mentioned that you're doing some self-investment, like into entrepreneurship, to kind of, to kind of grow a little bit in the leadership aspect, right?
Yes.
How is that going for you? Like from a leadership aspect, what do you like about it, or what do you find difficult for the most part?
It's actually been great, especially the feedback, because like I said, at the beginning I had, no clue what I was getting myself into. So I've been taking a class with this gentleman. He's from Mexico, though. His name is Tito Galaviz. Uh-huh. He's a really great entrepreneur, and he gives you feedback as how to make sales, how to interact more with people, how to become a better leader. Mm-hmm. And it's been great because I've been learning so much stuff that I didn't know before. Some mistakes that I was doing, I've been correcting them. And every day that I go into his classes, or I see any videos that he uploads and stuff, it kind of clicks, and it's like, okay, I was doing this wrong. So let me fix it, and do it this way. And that's why now even it's real hard for me to talk on the camera, and it's amazing how I've been able to do the live right now without no hesitation. But it's something that it takes a process. Yes. I guess not everybody's that natural. How everybody just goes live on their Instagram or come do a podcast, all those kind of things. So I think that it's been great, and I've liked the experience that I've been trying to get out of.
Yeah, so it's I like that you mentioned that, because I was just thinking earlier today, and I was thinking back to myself whenever I first wanted to get started on like creating content, whether it had been like for podcasts or just doing like self videos or anything like that, and then I would always struggle with it, just like everybody else. Didn't want to. I didn't mind being in front of the camera because I grew up in front of the camera because my mom would always record me and my bigger brother like with the soccer games and all that. But to intentionally be in front of the camera, speaking to it, or anyone who might be any audience, was the difficult part. But then, so I always ask myself, it's like, how do I get out of that zone? It's like, how do I get out of that comfort zone? And if there's anybody listening who might be in a similar position that I was, and I still am at some times. But when I say that there's literally no other way to get out of that other than like pressing record and like publishing it, it's like it. And I've always thought, because before I got what I think is comfortable in front of the camera, there's so many times where I recorded myself, and those videos are still on my phone. Like I never posted them, and I'm like, I recorded, I was like, nah, I'm not posting this, because then I started thinking about what everybody would say, think, blah, blah, blah. And then it got to a point where it's like, you really just have to post it. And if you get negative feedback, cool. At least it's feedback. But you never know at the end of the day, like when you step out of the comfort zone, like how much support like you actually get, and then how good that will do you taking the next step forward.
I think that's something very crucial, because I think most of now society has that fear of getting judged.
Big time.
Or not being perfect at some point. But what I've learned through the experience of taking this class is that if you have any content, just publish it. There's nothing wrong with it. You maybe somebody is not gonna like it, but there's always gonna be people to support you. And I think we talked about it on the first episode, how we went from 1 show to 5 shows to 10 shows to having sold out events. And like I told you, we had good seasons, we had bad seasons, but then all that stuff comes from getting out of the comfort zone. Because once you start feeling comfortable, it kills. It actually kills
big time, man. And so that's kind of essentially my goal moving forward for myself, is because I would like to kind of get into content a little bit more now that I've for the most part stepped aside from hey Pete, what's up, man? Thank you for joining in. Just briefly, I know you're busy training people, but I appreciate you coming in. But for the most part, my goal, since I kind of stepped away from soccer coaching, things like that, so I got essentially more free time, I would like to try and create more content, whether that be podcasting, whether that be just short type of videos, longer videos, seeing where I can provide more value to the audience, whether it be like advice, whether it be just situations that can be relatable, things of that nature, but actually pushing out content. Like what I mean by that is like pushing out content almost with my eyes closed. Like don't even care if 50 of them in a row don't get any likes or anything like that, but really just get in the habit. That's what I'm trying to say. In the habit of actually producing content, right?
And that's great, because you have a lot of impact on people that you don't even know. I actually went through not a situation, but I went through this I had a conversation with one of my supervisors at work, and even on my Instagram, you've never seen me post nothing negative.
Correct.
Regardless of whatever I'm going through on my personal life, or I'm having a bad day, you're never gonna see me post something negative. Why? Because I don't think about the negative stuff. I'm always trying to think about the positive stuff. And same thing at work. I show up to work and they always see me going at 110 miles an hour, trying to do my work as best as I can. And one night I show up to work, and the supervisor that I had it that day, he shows up and he tells me like, "Hey, bro, I just want to tell you something." I was like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "Hey, I know it takes a lot of courage, to tell you this, man, but I've actually been talking to my kids about you." And I'm like, "Whoa," he caught me by surprise. And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, like, I've been telling them how you're always, real motivated, pushing forward, regardless if, you're having any issues on your personal stuff, or you encounter any issues or whatever. I've never seen you come into work with a bad attitude or with a mad face and stuff." And that for me, was like a sign from God to continue pushing forward. I remember taking, his comment, or his, how can you say it? His compliment, I guess.
Yeah.
And it made my night. I was like, okay, cool, So the next day, I show up to work, and there was another supervisor there, and we sat down and we were talking, right? Because I was giving him an update that I had applied for a different agency, and he tells me like, "Hey, I like the fact that you always come in, and you're always real positive, and you're in a good attitude and stuff." So there was already the second person in a row that was telling me the same thing, and for me it was like, whoa, like, what am I doing? Like, what's going on? And so that continued to push me forward, and that's why, on my social media, I'm always posting, motivational quotes. Why? Because maybe somebody's having a bad day, and that motivational quote might inspire them to continue going. Another thing that we've been trying to do as well, and the brand is trying to gather together and do the team workouts that we used to do before. Eventually, we're going to start going out to the gyms again and just giving away free T-shirts. Why? Because maybe that T-shirt continues to push you to go on to the next day to the gym. Maybe today was your last day at the gym because you weren't seeing results. But then I already gave you a T-shirt for free, and that motivates you to continue working out.
At least to wear it the next day.
Exactly. So that's where we're at right now with our brand, and on my personal side, I'm gonna continue pushing that content, regardless whether it only inspires 1 people, 5 people, 10 people. It don't matter, because like I've told you before, we can't change the world, but if we're changing 1% at a time, we're already winning.
Yeah, exactly, man. And you're right. Your account is one of the accounts that's, essentially 100% positive all the time. There's been times where I come across your account and, whether it be just your caption or something that you say in it, that kind of gives me like a little boost in the moment, to at least just kind of, keep moving forward, or just kind of see the brighter side of what at the moment I might be going through, or, things of that nature. But no, I agree. And I sometimes think to myself, right before we take the break, but I sometimes think to myself, is like, to everybody each their own. But it's like, if you have a platform, if you're active on something, or you have the opportunity to share anything you want, it's like, why not make it something positive? Why not make it something progressive, something that can help someone out, if you really have that opportunity to?
Yes, exactly. And a lot of people, like I said, now they try to focus more on like the likes, how many people are viewing my story, how many people are resharing my stuff. But I think the best thing you can do is just post your content, regardless whether you get 1 like, 5 likes, 10 likes, like I said, you might inspire 1 person, and by inspiring 1 person, you're already winning. So I think that's the best thing that you can do.
Yeah, definitely. This is, the spot to be. Is Arnold mentioned, I love meeting new people. If there's anybody, whoever, at least, you don't have to, make this, you don't have to make this harder or more of a challenge than what it is. But if you just want to experience a podcast, or just share your story, man, you have somebody to talk to, we can do this all types of way, so reach out to me, again, on Instagram at Jiggadrin, or A7E _podcast on Instagram as well, or my YouTube, which is under Jiggadrin. That's where I have all my episodes. I think I currently hit just 103 subscribers, which is pretty cool to me, because I never imagined I'd ever get that far. But always grateful to the listeners for tuning in, subscribing, and support. Really quick, before we move on, I do kind of want to give a heads up that I'm looking to do a very small, I don't even know what to call it, but a little small love campaign. What I mean by that, I'm just trying to share a little bit of positivity with some, small T-shirts. I think I'm going to make like 20. I think it is, literally.
Okay.
Working with someone local, because I was, they're starting out with their T-shirt work as well. I just want to be able to help them out.
Nice.
But also helping me out as well. It's going to say love only on the front of the T-shirt, you know, in dripping font, but just black and white, a couple of sizes each, but hoping to just kind of essentially spread some positivity, through reading of the shirts or interaction between anyone that we might see. And that essentially leads me into what I've been thinking about lately a lot. I'm hoping to also use this platform to set what I like to call like a supportive standard, right? If anybody's in my community from the podcast or in my social medias, I think for the most part, if you know me, even if you don't know me, or if you've known me recently, I think you kind of see for the most part that I'm a supportive person. I can be very, I'm very positive for the most part. And I just try to spread as much good energy and positive vibes as possible, especially when I see people on their own journeys, people going through their own things, people that are trying to explore their interests. You have no idea how many people that I've reached out to that I see that are trying to do things with their own business or interests, things of that nature. And I just automatically say, hey, how can I support? Because I enjoy people taking that risk or, that step to explore more about what it is that they're trying to do. So yeah, I'm hoping to set more of a supportive standard amongst us or as people on social media or even in person, right? I don't know why, like, or where it came from, but maybe it's just human nature, especially amongst males. Maybe there's that competitive edge. Maybe we look at each other sometimes and we're like, maybe this person is doing something better than me, or I don't want to give too much props or too much support because he might get too ahead. But I think it takes real control of your personal ego.
Yes.
Because that's what it is.
It does.
Real quick, that's what it is. It's just your personal ego getting out of hand. It tries to take over. It tries to protect you from other people, and it always wants you to do better than the other person because your ego thinks that if someone's doing better than you, then you're not as important as you should be.
And actually, it does, especially being the owner of a brand and actually going to the gym. You see a lot of people, not support, very frequently, due to the fact that they don't want for other people to get ahead. And I think that's something that we're also trying to change, because I support anybody. I see a good post, regardless whether it's a male or a female, and I leave my like there.
Yeah.
So some people it might mean something, to some people it might not. But I think we should all try to support each other because even if I don't make it, but you make it, we're already winning.
Yeah.
So yes, it does take a lot of self-control, especially when it comes to males.
Yeah.
You see females supporting other females, most of the time.
That's
but,
what I say, yeah.
it's rare that you see, a male supporting another male. So I think that's something that we got to change.
Yeah.
And most definitely, congratulations on what you got going on. Because not everybody, puts out of their pocket, to do something like that. Some people rather just spend their money on their own things. And it's great because, especially nowadays, with everything that's going on in the world, us that we work in a field where we can see the dark side of the world, it's very appreciating because there's a lot of people that need that support system out there. Like I said, even if it's a T-shirt, it can change somebody's direction of life, in that instance. You're doing 20 shirts. You don't know if that person is thinking of getting home and doing something wrong, but then they got a gift from you and you change their day around. So congratulations on what you're doing, man. And if there's anything that we can do to support you and help you out, feel free.
Yeah.
We're there for you. And I'm sure that my team will be able to support as well.
Good.
I'm sorry about that. So we're always there, and I'm pretty sure anybody that's watching this, if you do it before the episode goes out, I'm pretty sure they'll be down to support you as well.
Yeah, I hope so, man, and I appreciate that. That definitely means a lot. I know that a couple of people that listen to the episodes, have mentioned interacting, with each other, from listening to episodes, and a lot of good people that are sharing a lot of good vibes, especially with me. And I appreciate that. Just to kind of name a few, obviously, yourself.
Thank you.
Arnold, Roosevelt has definitely been one of them. And I hate because Raul Pitbull, right? And Pete, Grecia even, and it's the Edward, who's her husband, Jazz. I mean, I've made, what I call you guys friends because there's a difference between the type of quality of people that you want in your life, right? Not that I can't be friends with different type of people, but, especially with positive people who have goals, who are really driven and motivated, that are like-minded like myself, who we all have a personal goal moving forward. It's awesome to just kind of be, even if it's from a distance, in that type of community.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And it's good, that you, because like I've said before, it also affects you a lot, the people that you surround with.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with people that have, weak minds or are negative, you're never going to move forward. But then you surround yourself with people that have the same mindset, that have about the same goals that you do, and it's even better when you have to level up to,
Yes.
to their level. Why? Because that makes you push forward 100 times, more.
Yeah.
So that's what we try to do. For me, it's my athletes. I see them competing. I see them, putting hard work at the gym and stuff. And I don't compare my body level to theirs, but then they give me that extra motivation and stuff to say, hey, you know what, if they could do their preparation and stuff, even when it's I have a lot of respect for them when it's peak week, because you can see in their face where they're in their last few drops of food and stuff, like they're barely making it to but they are always showing up to the gym, and that says a lot about those type of people. So that motivates me. And I'm glad that we're in this industry and that we're able to communicate and make contact with people, that have these great minds, because like I said, it makes you level up and work 100 times, better. So that's something that, that we also try to encourage everybody, surround yourself with the correct people. Sometimes it's hard to let go of people, but, it's going to cost you or harm your goals. The best thing that you can do is make sure that you move forward.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll tell you what, man, there's nothing that anyone can do for you in this world. I promise you. And what I mean by that is, like, if you feel like you're in a place, a gutter, or you're stuck, I promise you there's not much that anyone else can do for you. You first have to do that for yourself, right? Like, you have to first want to really, really want something different, right? For anything to change. Like, if you want to change, things have to change.
Yes.
If you want things to change, you have to change the way you look at things. You know
exactly.
what I mean? So I feel like, there's certain people around who always find the reason why they can't get going. And it's so easy, and it's natural for any human being to be like, hey, you know what? I can't do that because of this, or this person didn't let me do that. It's like, at some point, you really have to take ownership of your life, and you gotta take control of the steering wheel, and
push forward.
And there's a decision that essentially I subconsciously made it a long time ago, but I really wrote it down. I think it was like 2.5 years now. And I just put down on a piece of paper. I said, and I actually have it right there. It says, every single thing from now on, good or bad, is your fault.
Yes.
It's like you really have to take that responsibility, good or bad, for the things that happen in your life, and essentially either deal with the consequences or deal with this, the rewards from, the successful moments. But at some point, you have to stop looking around to rely on other things.
Yes.
And look internally to be able to start taking positive steps.
Yes. And I agree with you 100%, because everything starts with our own selves.
Yeah.
It's like you said, you want change, it's got to come from you. We can post motivational quotes every day, but then if somebody wants to start the gym, it's got to start, within them. I cannot go out there and, literally drag you to make it to the gym. But, we try to, like, I've told it before, we try to make sure that through our brand, we're able to provide, those extra discounts, like at All-Star Nutrition, Fork to Fit. Like I told you, now I'm working with a gym off of Mission. It's called Last One Fitness Center. And we try to help out everybody that we can, so we can at least push them to start off their goal. And then from there, they can take the like you said, the steering wheel and continue pushing forward. But yes, if you want change, it's got to start from you. It's like if I would put the blame on my guys and say, hey, you know what, the brand hasn't grown because of you guys. And, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't, because it starts off with me being the leader.
Agree.
So
I agree, man. And the reason why I asked you about the leadership, aspect and what you thought about it is because I'm really big into leadership as well. Essentially my biggest form of leadership has been the teams that I've coached at a high school level, being in classrooms, and also, players from 13 to 12 years old, and just having different types of personalities, things of that nature. And I've always been interested on how I can get people that I'm in quote unquote charge of, how I can get them to respond to me, in creative ways, or without having to be, let's say, harsh, for the most part. Like, how can I be an example of the people that I am in charge of, for them to follow me, for them to want to follow me, right? Because essentially, if you're in a position of leadership, or position of power or authority, there's, borderline sketchy ways that you can go about making people do things. No problem. That's the easy way, fear, pain, whatever it might be. But I think the biggest reward when you're a leader is like, how can you get people to look at you and be like, you know what, I want to do it like that, because he has set phenomenal examples. If he wants me to do something, he has shown me how he wants it done. He does it well. I want to do it like that, and for me, leadership in regards to that has always been very interesting, and especially when it comes to that aspect. How can I get people that are around me or that I'm in charge of to look at me and be like, that's how I want to do it?
I feel that, you just got to be yourself. There's no perfect way of, being a leader. And I think that God gives us, certain responsibilities, to the person that we are. And as a leader, you just got to make sure that your guys can trust you. It's not like you said, there's many ways that you can do it, through fear, pain, or, any other kind of things. But, I feel that being a leader is like earning respect,
Yeah.
you got to earn it. You cannot just say, hey, I'm your boss and, this is what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, maybe some people will do it, but is that the correct way of doing it? How long are they gonna respect you?
Exactly.
You gotta earn that trust. You gotta earn that respect as a leader. So I think that just by being yourself and making that you're holding yourself accountable to everything that you're doing, there's no other perfect way than you can do it. I think also being a leader, it's a growing process. Do you learn from the stuff or the mistakes that you do, which make you a better person, and you're just gonna continue going. But then there's also some people that imply that fear and like, am I doing it right? You start building, that doubt and stuff. So I feel that the best thing, like I said, to do is just do it, hold yourself accountable, and you'll earn that respect from the people around you.
Yeah. One thing that I've noticed as well, as over the books that I've read, especially, through John Maxwell, who's the author of like ridiculously amounts of books, especially he's leadership niche specific, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's essentially what he focuses on the most. But him and amongst others who have obviously grown to a ridiculous, size of leadership, like where you're overseeing like a company or employees or multiple businesses. Most of them do like to touch the topic of, when you're in a leadership position and you want people to essentially, I guess, respect you or look at you in that type of way, you always have to be willing to serve first.
Yes.
Right? Like you always have to be able to do for others first and, before what you're wanting to do for yourself. Mm-hmm. Showing people that you care, showing that, their needs come first in a sense, to a certain point, as long as it's not detrimental to the business or whatever. And just tending to them, like, what can I do to help you want to do this thing that I'm hoping you do better? It's like, what can I do to make that easier for you? How can I be of service to you? And essentially what happens, from that is, again, people see you as an example of serving, and when they see that it's something good, they'll then want to serve as well. And the people that they end up serving is the person in leadership, which in this case would be yourself. Does that make sense?
So yeah, just like I said, I think before I ask my guys to do anything, if I haven't done it, then I'm not going to ask them to do it. Yeah. If I'm not active on social media, then how can I expect for them to be active on their social media?
That's a good point.
So that's why, going back to the content, conversation, that's why mostly on a daily basis, I try to post when I go to the gym. Most of my Instagram is mostly gym based, most of my private life, I keep it out of my social media. But I still try to post, what I eat, what I'm doing, at a certain time of the day, at what time do I go to the gym and stuff, what am I hitting that day for the gym. And that also motivates my guys. They see me doing it, so they're like, okay, well, if he's doing it, then what excuse can I give him for not doing it? If he also has a busy day, he also has his personal things going on, and he has time to continue pushing forward. What excuse do I have as an ambassador or as an athlete not to do it? The only time that we do kind of exempt them from doing it is when they're in their last few weeks of their training process, if they're athletes, because I understand that they go through a real crucial time. So I don't expect for them to be posting when I know that they're having very minimal, meals and stuff.
Energy.
Exactly. So that's the only time. But other than that, like you said, if you hold yourself accountable, I think people will follow.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I personal development for me is always big. How to speak better, how to think better, how to navigate through the things that you're trying to accomplish better, how to serve others. That's something that I've been trying to focus on more anywhere I go. But also, more importantly, one of the things that I make a priority is to always have good relationships, really, like genuinely though, not just like going to a person and be like, all right, I know that I got to have a good relationship with the person, so I'm just going to have a good relationship. It's like, no, but like genuinely being interested in other people, trying to transmit positive energy, positive vibes, and, being an asset or a quality friend to that person or the relationship, right? Because I know that there's situations, I've come across situations where that's not always mutual, and not that it has to be, but what is a relationship if the energy is not reciprocated, equally? So, I had situations where I've done everything I could to be an asset or, be positive or supportive, whatever. And there was essentially, long story short, no response back. At that point, you have to make a decision. Is this person a friend that reciprocates what I do, or is this a person who just likes the way I am towards them and isn't much of anything back, right? So when I go around to people, I do my very best to just kind of focus on quality, relationships, being an asset, helping where I can, supporting where I can, and things of that nature.
Yeah, like you said, I think very similar to you, and I think that everywhere that I go, I try to make sure that we share the same positivity. Yep. Sometimes it's not gonna get returned. Sometimes you might get something in return, but it's okay. We cannot expect from people what we're giving them, because then we're always going to be disappointed. Why? Because not everybody thinks the same way that we do. So as like I said, as long as you continue doing it genuinely, and if you gotta continue moving on, that's okay, because at least that you did it genuinely. If that person then return the same positivity that you gave them, or that respect and stuff.
Yeah, the respect. That's what essentially what happened. Yeah.
I think it's still okay, because you did it in a good manner, in a good way. And that person down the road is going to be like, what, that person was the person that I should have stuck to.
There you go.
And that's a lot. It's a lot of stuff that I've been reading and putting into my mind, that we cannot take accountability for other people's actions.
Yeah.
You got to continue doing what you like doing, and if somebody else doesn't accept it, it's already on them. It's like my brand. We try to share positivity. We try to push forward. So people can reach their goals and stuff. And if some people don't take advantage of it, that's not really so much that we can do. So I think it goes back to the same thing as you carry yourself. Yeah. But I think that being positive is amazing.
Yeah. So I read a book called The Four Agreements. That's why I looked over here. I can't remember who the author was, but so one of the four agreements in the book is essentially not taking anything personal, right? Yes. Regardless of how you navigate through life, regardless of the responses you get from those things that you're investing your emotion in, or your time in, your energy. If there's anything negative towards you, or someone causes you whatever type of pain, physical, emotional, or lacks or neglects to give you a certain amount of respect that you expect because of what you've given, to not take anything personal, right? And I used to be ridiculously good at that. And what I mean by that is, like, that's how I used to be the most. And lately, and I don't know why, and I think this is essentially, where being conscious of an ego comes from. It's like, in those similar situations, now it's been a little bit different for me. I actually get a little upset. Like, I get angry. And I notice myself getting angry. I'm like, why are you getting angry now? Or like, where is this coming from? When you used to not care about how people treated you or came at you negatively, right? But I know that. I'm conscious of that. It's not something that controls me. So I'm aware of it, and I can essentially just like press it down, right? But one of the agreements, and if you're able to actually live by that, genuinely not letting things, or don't take anything personally. Man, like, it really does allow you to move through life almost stress-free 100%.
It actually does, because one of the things that I'm real big on is, or actually I actually read one quote one time, and it said, people make the mistake thinking that we have time. We don't. We're here on borrowed time, and that's where my mentality changed even more. That's where I stopped taking a lot of things personal. That's where I stopped dwelling a lot on the negative stuff. If somebody gave me some negative feedback, just take it as a plus, because they're still giving me the feedback, and continue moving. Because if you let that control you, then you're already losing your peace. You know, you're losing time and that negative stuff. And like I said, then it's because start changing you as a person. Maybe right now it's not affecting you, but what about down the road? So that's something that I imply on my daily basis. You know, don't take things personal. The correct time will come, and you're just gonna continue being yourself. You know, regardless. You know, like I've told you, we cannot control somebody else's actions, but you can control yours.
Yeah.
So as long as you continue being positive and you don't dwell or you don't let your ego control you of what's, you know, what that person did to you, you know, you just continue going on.
Yeah, and that's something that I kind of keep reminding myself is to essentially go through this life, and every interaction you come across, to just try to be a positive interaction, a positive light, or beacon of light. So when people interact with you and they go home, they're like, hey, you know what, that person was pretty cool. Kind of made my day through a joke or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I do sometimes get carried away, like, and I say this in all transparency to the listeners, because I don't know if the listeners think that because I have this podcast, like I'm this achieved person or like perfect type of, even though like I've read the books, like the books are knowledge, and the books help to know the difference, to be aware of the difference. And that's something lately that I've been just weird about, and I hate it. Like, I'm like, I talk to myself like, dude, where is this coming from? Because I never used to be like that. But and sometimes I have thought, okay, you know what? Like, this person wants to be like this to me, then I'm going to be different to the next person because, of the negative that was put on me. But then it's like, I have to keep reminding myself, it's like, do your best not to take it personal. The next person you meet, you have to be a blessing for the most part. Yeah. Try to be a blessing, not a lesson type of thing. But it's gotten to a point where I have to like just remind myself. But I agree, that's the best way to move forward and navigate.
Yes, and that's why I like going out to our events, especially. When we have events and stuff, I like going out there as an owner and interacting with our followers, interacting with the people that follow my personal page, my personal brand. Because it allows me, to speak to them and encourage them in whatever they got going. Even if they're doing the same thing as I am, if they're barely gonna, because I've gone reached out by some people when we go to events and they ask me like, hey, is it easy what you guys are doing? And I don't give them the negative feedback. I don't tell them like, hey, it's hard. I don't tell them like, hey, nah, you're not gonna make it. I encourage them to do it. Like, hey, you know what? Go for it. Push forward. If you already have an idea in mind, take it.
Yeah.
There's no perfect timing. Don't wait until you think I'm already ready financially. I'm already ready with all the ideas, because there's no perfect timing. Just if you have the idea, push it. And if you want to collaborate with us in any type of way, let me know. We'll do something to help you start, and you can take it on from there. Because like I said, time is very short.
Yeah.
So why are we gonna dwell on the stuff that's been happening, or if somebody gives you some negative energy, you just gotta let it go and continue going. That's another thing why I like going out to the events, and that's why I try to spread a lot of positivity, especially on my social media as well. So going back, hopefully we're able to impact different people, and if anybody's listening, if you guys have any ideas or anything that you guys want to start off, just go ahead and do it. And if there's anything that Gymnastics or I personally can help on, feel free to reach out. My Instagram is there. We'll make that idea work somehow.
There you go, man. See, that's what I call standard support right there, man. That's really cool. And I like to essentially extend the same type of potential ability. If there's, I'm a person that loves to brainstorm and come up with new ideas, and if there's anything that I can do just to at least, even if you need someone to bounce ideas off of, I promise to give you some solid feedback, some constructive feedback, some creative feedback, essentially, to kind of be like, oh, we try this, try that. But for the most part, like Arnold said, there is no right time. There is never a right time. Like, the only right time is the time that you actually do it, right? Yes. Regardless of the situation. And unfortunately, it's one of those things that you really don't know is true until you do it.
Exactly.
Right. Like, I feel like we can sit here and say, there's never a right time, but no one really knows what that means until they realize or do it themselves, type of thing.
Yes. When I started my brand, I wasn't even thinking about it. We just pushed forward. And I also want to take the time to thank our designer. They're on Instagram and Facebook as EMZ Designs.
EMZ
Um,
Designs.
yes, they're our main printers, which is it's a secondary business of mine as well. Is run by my wife actually.
Okay.
Um, and what's it called? And like I said, the idea just came and we just pushed. That was it. We didn't sit down and say,
Think about it too
exactly.
much.
Do you think we're ready for this? Or the idea came, we just put it, we put it to work, and we continue to improve it as
There
we
you
go.
go. There you go.
I think that's a perfect way to say it. So most definitely, if anybody's out there that has any idea, like I said, feel free to ask, or feel free to send me a message. We can collaborate, and I'm always open to new ideas.
Yeah.
I think that's what's also setting us apart from everybody else. Like I said, we're collaborating right now with Alpha Supplements, with Ulster Nutrition, with Fork to Fit Kitchen, with Last One
Yeah.
Fitness Center in Mission, and we're hoping to continue collaborating with other people. Regardless whether it's another clothing brand or it's another gym brand, and they just want to collaborate to do a T-shirt and see how that works. I'm down for it.
Sick.
Because ultimately not only am I winning, but they're also winning.
Yeah.
And if we both can win and attract more people and imply some type of positiveness or some encouragement on them to continue on with reaching their personal goals or their fitness goals, whatever it is, we're already winning.
Yeah.
And everybody's winning at the same time.
Exactly, man. One thing that I told Arnold, before we started the episode was, I like to kind of cover the supporter standard that I'm hoping to at least, initiate, or, not saying that it's not out there at all, but I like to at least bring it to the surface, make it, bring awareness to it. Everybody's got their own thing, man. Everybody's, first of all, got their own troubles, their own problems. Everybody's already got enough on their plate, so credit and props to the people who try to take on more, who try to do more for themselves or for their family or whoever it is, for their dreams, visions. Props to those people, and it's essentially where a supportive standard should come into play, and kind of have some compassion towards people in the journeys that they're trying to walk, and just be a helping hand whenever you can.
Most definitely. I think that it's a blessing, for some of us taking that extra step on providing that extra guidance or supportive system to others. I've actually been very thankful that I was able to start this new journey, with the gym clothing brand, and as along we went, building those collaborations, because it gives people that extra boost, to have that 10% off at the supplement store, 10% off at the meal prep place, because like you said, we already have enough in our plates. Everybody goes through their good days and their bad days, and like everybody does, but some of us are able to handle it a little bit different. And I think that's where it makes us a little bit different, and we're able to provide that extra guidance, that extra support system to the others. And yes, like you said, man, congratulations to everybody that is doing extra for their family,
Yep.
for themselves, especially for themselves, because it takes a lot to find your own self. I think there's a lot of people that like to do a lot for others, but they always leave themselves to the end.
Yeah, they neglect themselves, or they put themselves last.
Exactly.
No, I agree, man. I definitely think, one of the best ways to be able to help everybody else around you to the best of your ability is to make sure that you're okay first.
Yes.
And sometimes that's taken in a negative way. It's like when I got to a point where I was also realizing that, hey, like, I can't be the best asset to you because I'm not really okay right now. Like, I need to invest more time on myself. I need more quiet time. I need more peaceful time. Like, I really need to just get my thoughts straight, because it's like, if I'm coming at you and I'm trying to help you when I'm at 50%, what's that really going to do for you?
Nothing.
And it's like sometimes that's taken negatively, because then people interpret it as somebody being selfish, or not wanting to help out. But the reality is that people are aware sometimes that they need to be a better version of themselves.
Yes.
So they can be a better asset to you.
See, I think in my personal side, when I feel in a way that I've already intake so much, I go to the gym. The gym for me is the best therapy ever. That's why I try to work out daily, because every day we come across new situations, and that keeps me going, to provide extra boost or continue working on the stuff that I already got going on, like my gym clothing brand and any other business, that I have, or my personal stuff at home, my job and stuff. So yes, I do encourage, everybody that's watching, that if at any point, you feel like you're losing yourself, take a couple of steps back, and it's okay with that, because I've done it. I've taken some days off, from everything. I'll put my phone in silent and, just catch a movie with my little boys, and or just take a day off, completely, just stay at home. Why? Because I'm also human, I also feel, I also hurt. So most definitely, if I want to continue helping everybody and be able to provide that positiveness, I got to make sure, like you said, that I'm 100% there. If I'm only 25% there, then my mind is not going to be there 100%. So most definitely, everybody that's listening, yes, it's okay for you to take those days off, from the gym, that day off from work, that day off from, social media, and recharge your batteries, regain, that confidence, and continue going.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Recharging your battery, and really just, there is a grind culture that's out there that essentially is, grind, no sleep, grind, no sleep. But the reality is, like, you're a person, dude.
Yes.
Like, I appreciate the mentality to grind, to get it done, for sure. I agree with that. But it's like, when do I get the energy to grind? It's like, let me breathe a bit, especially when you've gotten so overwhelmed with everything that you're doing. It's like, all right, take a step back, man. Like, you got the goal in mind. You know what needs to be done. Just be responsible with the steps you have to take. But at the end of the day, if you're not okay, then the things around you can't be okay.
Yeah, and it's totally fine. I'll probably go a little bit into my personal side. Back in November, I had a family emergency that, it got my mind off of, what I already had going on, which was, my gym brand and my businesses. And I had to refocus and pay attention to that situation that I had going on, on my personal side. And I thank God for all those things, because that's where you see who's there to support you, and who's not, who's just there for the advantage of certain benefits, and who's there for the long run because they want to see you grow. And yes, I had to take a couple of steps back. And when I could during the week, I'd still post on my social media and stuff. But then I was very aware that I was not 100%. And I talked to my team about it. I told them, like, hey, guys, this is what's going on. I'm going to take a few days off. This is what's going to happen. And I spoke to them so they could be very well aware of what I had going on, not necessarily them thinking like, oh, this guy's already quitting on us. You get me? Because I'm like everybody else, I'm human as well. And it's always good to take those steps back, be able to invest that energy in what you got going on, take your break, and then come back stronger. So that's why they say that is it the comeback's always better than the sit back or something? There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, man, that's good, guys. I mean, I definitely think, for the most part, I hope this episode was one that you enjoyed. I always enjoy having you on, man. Honestly,
thank you.
It's so easy for you, or maybe it doesn't feel that way to you, but you make it seem easy to spread positivity and be a good area of voice, a positive voice for people to hear. And so obviously, thank you so much for coming back to the podcast.
Thank you for having me out here. It's always a blessing, coming out here. Like I said, on my live, anybody that wants to come and do it, I encourage them to come and do it 100%. Why? Because your story might impact me. That's another thing that I forgot to share, but I follow tons of people on my Instagram as well, and I see their different goals and their different stories, and that motivates me to keep going. I'm like, damn, he's got it going. Like, yeah, that's great, man. I see that you're doing episodes every week, every other week, and that's like, hey, that's good. It's great that he continues to grow and he continues to reshare, different stories, from these athletes that we have along the valley, and stuff. So thank you again for having us. I want to take the time to thank everybody in my team, to thank everybody that supported us since the beginning. If there are new followers or new supporters, thank you as well. Because without them, we wouldn't have a brand. Yeah. I want to thank, EMZ Designs, which is, or our designer, or the people that print out, or merchandise and stuff. Last one, fitness center, Fork to Fit Kitchen, Alpha Supplements. Everybody that support us in general. If I forget to mention you guys, like I said, even like the new followers that I have on my personal Instagram, yourself as well. Because that gives us extra motivation to continue going. And like I mentioned before, anybody that's willing to do a collaboration, if you guys already join on my live, feel free to message. We're there. And if you guys enjoy this episode, hit Jiggadrin. And if you guys want to go for a third episode, we'll be here as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. A third episode is a definite, no matter what. Especially with my OG podcast, guest. I've enjoyed every single person that's come on this podcast, man. And honestly, I think I got lucky with that. I said it on the previous episode, but it's like I feel that I've just gotten lucky with the people I've gotten on, because like the good people, the vibrant people.
Yes.
So I enjoy it. So yeah, guys, like Arnold said, thank you all so much. And and for me, this podcast wouldn't be a podcast if no one's listening. For those of you that subscribe to the YouTube channel, I am more grateful than I am currently working on getting this podcast on the audio platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts for the most part. It's already in the works, so I'm hoping that that'll be out, within the next 7 days, where it's consistently being distributed to those podcasts. I'm hoping just at least to make this a platform where you guys can tune in and get some positive vibes, feel some positive energy from me and the guests that I have here. But yeah, Arnold, man, maybe one day we'll have to do a Gymnastics and A7E podcast collab, man, specifically.
That'd be great, man. I could get my team out here and we could all share, our different stories on how or what motivates us, to continue going to the gym. That'd be great. Maybe some motivation to our followers. Yeah. Again, thank you to everybody that's been supporting us. Thank you for having me out here. And like I said, if they enjoy it, they want a third episode, most definitely I love to continue sharing our growth and our story, and continue sharing that positivity. And that's more than anything, like I said, we cannot change the world, but if we change one person at a time, we're already winning. So that's a big goal for me.
Yeah, good. Guys, please do me a favor, go and follow Arnold on all social medias, his personal page, and the Gymnastics page on Instagram. And I think from there you'll get more of the information that he might want to share or you might be looking for. And as for me, guys, please make sure that you follow me on Instagram at Jiggadrin, YouTube Jiggadrin as well. Thank you all so much for listening, man. Until next time, see you guys.
See you guys next time.